Welcome to Real Estate Straight Up, where we skip the scripts and talk about what's really going on in the Central Texas real estate market. I'm Casey Jorgensen, founder of Jorgenson Real Estate in Round Rock, Texas. This is where we break down how deals are actually getting done, what top agents are doing differently, and what most people aren't saying out loud about this market right now. No fluff, no BS, just real estate, straight up. Well, welcome back to Real Estate Straight Up. I'm Casey Jorgensen, founder of Jorgenson Real Estate. Today, we're meeting with Crystal Long, who is a broker associate here with Jorgenson Real Estate. And she's been with us almost second longest in the office at this point.
So, yep.
Yeah. And she is our top producer, especially for this year, for 2026. And so we're excited to get her in here. This is Closer Conversations, where we talk with our top agents and other top agents in the market and to kind of dig into what makes them special and share some about them. So
I'm super excited.
Hi. Crystal loves being on video. So this is exciting.
This might be the first time you've seen me on video. That's how much I love it.
Yeah. So we twisted her arm to get her in here today and share all of her secrets. So, all right.
Make it easy, Casey.
We'll take it. It'll be easy. Here's the easiest question is what got you into real estate? Where are you from? What's your background? Like what brought you here?
So I have a background in accounting. Love the numbers part. While I was in college, though, I also waited tables and I loved people and I actually missed that job. And that people don't believe that sometimes, but I loved interacting with different people and that the job wasn't the same day after day. So, but the accounting way took me to, I was working for a real estate investment company and kind of handling the book side, but that can get lonely. And I started, again, kind of thinking of how I could maybe weave all those things together. The
spreadsheets weren't talking back to you?
No, they were not. And you know I like to talk. I really like to talk. And I genuinely really like people, and I think that shows. And a lot of people say that in this business, but I truly do, and I get attached to them. And so I just missed meeting different people and their different personalities. And so it kind of naturally flowed, and I'm really excited. And I will be going on in August. It will be 9 years in real estate.
9 years in real estate and almost 8 years with us.
Yes.
So that's really cool. So you got to see the numbers side and dug into the spreadsheets and really kind of got to lean into the back end. You missed the people side. And so you ultimately transitioned into sales.
Right.
You came out here, and I remember when we first met, I think that I was teaching a class, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you were friends with one of our existing agents that was with us.
Right. Yes. She's one of my best friends still.
Yeah. And then we got
both
you
started.
Got you to come over here, right? So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about kind of business today. So you've been doing this for almost a decade. You have your broker's license. You're a broker associate. And your clientele is I think it's really cool because I know a huge chunk of them are a lot of veterans and a lot of first-time buyers around that medium price point. And then I know that you work with a lot of our higher end clients as well on the luxury side. So why don't we talk about the vets?
Sure. Yes.
You like working with the vets?
I do, yes. And I love that Texas is so veteran friendly. I think it draws a lot of veterans here that after they're retiring or even looking for a job right out of the military. And I think that's a big part of the culture, and I love it.
Yeah, when you say the Texas government is like super friendly, that's one of my favorite things is when, obviously, like the disability rating is not a favorite thing, but if they have it,
sure,
like how good they are with the property tax exemptions.
Right. Yes, so. The tolls and just a lot of extra benefits that they get here.
Yeah. So when it comes to kind of working with vets, we were talking a little bit before we started filming. What's the one thing that you wish you could drive home to veterans that may have even used their VA loan once already, but like what's one thing you'd want to drive home to them?
Yeah, so I think what I've found that a lot of them don't realize is depending on their eligibility, they can keep their existing home where they've used a VA loan and turn that into an investment property, and then still use a VA loan on their second property. And it's a great way to build wealth and still put zero down and not have to worry about pulling the equity out of your existing home or using a different loan program. Because I think the other thing that people don't realize is VA loans have a lower interest rate than conventional 20% down people, or even putting more than 20% down. And so if you can use that benefit, you really want to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I know that when I first bought my property, I bought a house, I lived there, we outgrew it, and I was able to go and purchase another house with my own VA loan and rented that out, just like you said.
Right.
So, and I still own that first house today,
yes,
which was an amazing wealth building tool for me. So, yeah, so veterans, you can use it more than once.
Yes. And the big thing too that we're still able to do, and especially in this market right now being more of a buyer's market, is get those closing costs covered. So this year I've had several veterans where I've got their closing costs completely covered. They're getting money back at closing, some of their earnest money back at closing, if not all of it. So they're really getting in with $0. And, to use somebody else's money to invest in real estate is a really cool opportunity. And I want them to take advantage.
And the VA also has that IRRRL program too. So even though rates are a little higher right now, and the VA is rates as of today filming, they're probably about 6.25 or so. But with the IRRRL program, the VA, it's unique to them. It's basically a streamlined refinance to where if rates go down, you can sometimes negotiate a free refinance with your mortgage servicer just to get whatever the current lower market rate is. So
super
veterans
easy.
are winning.
Sometimes skipping a monthly payment with that process too. So it's very easy. Good opportunity.
Yeah. And so where do you live? What part of Central Texas?
I'm in Liberty Hill, Texas, which is Northwest Austin, big time growing area. We moved out there 5 years ago now, which has gone by super fast.
We're a trendsetter.
Well, I know you think that, but people had already kind of started to move out that way. But COVID was pushing people further out in Austin in general, and not having to commute daily was a big factor in that. We were drawn to larger lots and less traffic and all those fun things. Great schools.
Yeah, and your house is great. Like you have,
I do love our house,
that's a good entertainer's home, plenty of space, and you have that huge shop too. So
yes,
you can't go find that easily and affordable
Correct.
in town for sure. Well, and I know part of that too. So we talked about the veterans, and then we have kind of the higher end clients that you work with, right? And so with that, I know that there are a lot of higher end homes, especially in that kind of western and northwestern part of Williamson County. How's it been kind of working in that market?
Good. So it's very diverse too. It depends on, kind of what you're looking for, your lifestyle, and how you're going to spend your time when you're not working. Santa Rita Ranch has some really beautiful homes on larger lots, and they have several community events, and you kind of feel closer knit and plugged into things. But if you prefer to be on a couple acres, you want kind of that freedom, maybe to still be in like a minimal HOA, there's those opportunities as well.
Yeah.
The neat thing about Texas too is we have several different custom home builders that you can use. You don't just have to use some of the big names. And they can offer you a lot of different finishes and options. And
it's the bummer about some of the big production builders is they're very strict. They're
right.
like, this is our floor plan.
Yes.
And this is what you get. So yeah, Liberty Hill does have that diversity in architecture.
So if you want to, again, meet with an architect to change the floor plan or select some of your own design finishes and bring them in, with the true custom build, the builders will let you do that. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So kind of, how's it been? How's the market been feeling at those higher price points, right? Because we're filming this on July 1st here in 2026. So we're in an odd time. We've got conflict happening overseas and things, and markets are fluctuating sometimes hourly, it feels like. So how's it been kind of working with them and navigating those higher price points?
I think something that sellers are surprised about is that offers will come in, quite a bit lower. But when you're putting things into a percentage way, it's really kind of the same across the board, that things might be coming in 3 to 5% less. It just feels like it's a lot less when it's a larger number.
Yeah.
And buyers know that they have some negotiating room. And then again, the further out you get from Austin, people have been feeling it more because people have been going back to work, and workers, Dell and a lot of these big businesses that were fully remote, they started phasing people in a few days a week, and now it's 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And while our commutes are better than other parts of the country, it's still a lot of people don't want to spend more than 20 minutes if they don't have to. And so if you're on the outskirts in these higher price points, those were some of the jobs that those people had that were buying those properties. And so it's a little bit slower for sure.
I will say what's nice about that part of town here in Central Texas, they're putting a lot of money into the infrastructure, like 183 and a lot of the kind of the cut throughs that used to be a janky 2-lane road filled with potholes are now like actual proper streets.
So one of my favorite things that I do with buyers when I'm taking them out and commute's something that's super important to them is while we're at the property, I'm searching up their workplace. They've given me their address before or whatever. And then I'm showing them not just the average commute time, but that they'll have several different routes and what those kind of range from. Because I think it's always great if you have 3 routes that are under 35 minutes or something, because then you have options if something happens. And just to show them that they'll have that flexibility. And so absolutely out that way. I mean, yes, some of it's a toll, but the thing I like about tolls is when you need them, they're there and you can pretty much count on no traffic or little to no traffic.
Yeah, one accident blocks off that whole way in. It's good to have a backup.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I was kind of taking a look at our numbers and doing my monthly audit of things, and it's middle of the year, and I kind of wanted to see where most of our business was happening, like where most agents were helping clients buy and sell. And I was really surprised to see that about a third of our business was happening in Georgetown. So that's been kind of like our epicenter for this year. So I think part of it is you were talking before about Georgetown, and it's like one of the biggest boom towns in the country still.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And I think just like with any area, as the growth is pushing out, Georgetown would be the next logical place. We love being here in downtown Round Rock, and we work by referral, but some of our clients are kind of feeling that they want to sell in Round Rock, and they're fine making that commute to get a little bit more for their money or something newer, or maybe it's the master plan community that's driving them out there.
And you've been one of the biggest master plan communities I know is Wolf Ranch.
Yes, for sure.
And we've done, you're one of our top performers in Wolf Ranch. I know we have listings in there right now. We're actually negotiating deals in Wolf Ranch kind of as we speak. Mm-hmm. So that was a really great master plan community with really diverse housing right there near 35.
Oh, yeah. And it's beautiful. It's got the hill country vibe, and you've got all those mature trees and infinity edge pool, fitness center, parks, all the things you could want.
And what's that? What do they call that? There's like a weird spot that people park.
Oh, yeah. It's like a lookout.
Yeah, it's like a look. It's like where teenagers probably go and hold hands, whatever.
For sure. Yeah. It's beautiful. Sunset watching.
Yeah, I've pulled over there and done work at that little overlooking thing. Oh, and it's also right across from the 3D printed homes in Wolf Ranch.
Yes. And I have seen those. I went to a special thing that they were doing when they were building those. That was very interesting. And to my knowledge, that was one of the first in the country of 3D printed homes. And it's interesting that they chose Georgetown to kind of pilot that.
They're pretty cool. Like the inside has like the ridges. Like it's not drywall. It's actually the concrete.
Right.
That's in there.
Yeah, I got to watch one of the machines doing it too. It was very interesting. So I think some people are a little skeptical, kind of like with electric cars. They want to see how they perform, but then look where that went. So we could be headed there with 3D printed homes.
Yeah, wait and see like the first good windstorm that comes through.
Right.
See how they shape up compared to the others. And
just kind of over time, that's what I'm curious about, since it is different materials, how that's going to look over time. Yeah,
the science is supposed to be great, and they're pretty solid. And I can tell you this, we had a listing that was a historic home in Temple, and it had 9-inch thick concrete walls.
Right.
And that thing's air conditioner barely had to work. I mean, it was like
insulated,
solid inside. Yeah. Well, cool. You want to switch gears a little bit?
Sure.
All right. So you've been here with us for like 8 years, right?
Yes.
We've had some good times. We've had some
really good times.
Some fun times. We've had Crystal was with us through our crazy peak of that COVID market.
Right.
and then she's been with us through this
Shift.
this kind of downturn. I try to explain to the agents, like most people, we see a shift like this every 8 to 10 years. What we went up really high and came down kind of, really fast too. But you've seen a ton of stuff.
Right.
Looking back over your past 8 years, what was your favorite market during that time?
Ooh, that's interesting. Well, it's just been different depending on who you're representing, because right now it's fun with buyers because I can feel like I can negotiate more for them and they have more choices. But it was fabulous seeing some of my sellers enjoy and get to benefit from so much equity. And it was almost life-changing for some of them to give them decisions that they could make because of how much their home had appreciated.
Yeah.
So that was fun to see because I got to help some of the people that I helped buy their house, sell their house.
Yeah.
And there were challenges with that too, though. I feel like my ultimate favorite is a balanced market, or as close as you can get to it.
It's kind of what we're in now.
It is. It does. It feels like everybody just has a minute to breathe and kind of think through things. Sellers can think through things, and buyers can feel like they have time to make decisions. And, you have choices. I like that.
Yeah. The balanced market is the rarest market, and we've been in it for a minute.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's going to be interesting when things shift back in favor of sellers when that eventually happens. So,
Sure.
yeah, that's a good point. When it comes to, you talked about kind of winning with the sellers, and then now in the crazy times, right? It was my favorite when people said it must be really good being in real estate right now. It was good for the sellers, but it was also
so much work for us.
Yeah, I remember we had listings and we're getting like 60 offers sometimes that we had to go through.
The phone calls and the sense of urgency and
waiting in line to go see houses because there were so few available.
Mm-hmm. And, being the bearer of bad news with buyers when they've made 5 offers. But I think during that time and this time too, what I've loved most and why I've been with Jorgenson Real Estate for this whole 8 years is we've collaborated a lot. And we were able to kind of give each other real-time advice on what was working, and that our clients benefited tremendously for that because we were ahead of the game when we were negotiating, and we had ways of winning in those situations. And I mean, it felt really good that we could serve them that well and win most of the time. And we had strategies on how to present the offers for the sellers too, and the best ways to kind of navigate that. And we all learned from each other quickly and we were able to pivot. So that
was one of my favorite times in terms of like the collaboration. It was a challenge
for sure
back then, but this market today, it is a little bit more comfortable. I tell this story to a lot of people and for whoever listening, but when I started, it was 2009, 2010, and there were big time real estate agents that would put a billboard up that said your home sold in 6 months guaranteed. And 6 months was the bar. And now
you were winning if it was 5 months.
Oh yeah. If you sold that thing in 3 months, people were like, man, you sold that quick. What's going on here? But but now, depending on where you look, the average is usually between kind of 30 to 60, sometimes 90 days. And people kind of hit that 30 to 40 day mark and they're getting like, why isn't my house sold? Why isn't my house sold? I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong with what you're experiencing right now, but that's normal.
Very normal. And it was very normal when I got in the market in 2017 too.
Right.
And so there really was just a brief spurt of time that things sold in a weekend. But because it seems like it was so fresh, that's all people remember. And that was unique even then. But because it was kind of exciting and people, I'm sure at their workplaces were coming to work, I just sold my house for $50,000 over in 3 days. People still remember those stories because they sounded so cool. And so this feels strange to them but really it's not. And most of the time, real estate lives in the market that we're in now, more like this. So
that was my favorite market when you first joined the 2017 to 2019 time period. It was nice and steady growth. It wasn't a hardcore seller's market, but it was still kind of a seller's market back then.
Right. The builders were good to the buyers and they're good to them now. But during that crazy time, they weren't so great. And there were some of them that,
And any builders listening to this, now or in the future, we remember
We do remember.
every builder.
We may or may not even have a list.
We do have a wink. Yeah. We kept track. And so we remember the builders that did right when it was the craziest. And we remember the builders that tried to take advantage of our people. So,
Well, for sure, because that's a question buyers ask and that we can answer when we have experience. And they ask, in your experience, how do you feel about this builder? Which builder do you think is better? Which builder have you had, a good experience with? And then even about the construction or the quality of the home. And so it's important when we have real life experience that we can share with them about that.
I'm going to put you on the spot right now because Crystal, I haven't checked these numbers, but is one of our top new construction agents as well, because many veterans kind of gravitate toward new construction and so on. Who are some of your favorite builders?
Ooh, I do have quite a few. I really like.
We're not going to talk smack about builders right now. That's
we'll
a different
just say
episode.
The favorites. I like Perry and Toll Brothers, Scott Felder, Highland,
Love Highland.
Chesmar. So yeah, there's quite a few good ones here, and I love that we have choices. I think that's one of my other favorite things about a lot of these Northwest Austin and even Northeast Austin master plan communities is they'll have several different builders. And so if you like a subdivision for a certain reason because of the schools or the amenities, you have choices usually within different price ranges and then with different builders. So you can kind of fit one, maybe the floor plan is what is most important to you or the finish out. But I like that it also makes the neighborhood look more diverse and not so cookie cutter when they've got different builders in there. So,
and most of the bigger neighborhoods, they plan it out to where they have kind of more of an entry level type of home all the way up to those estate series where it's
on larger lots,
wider lots.
Yes, exactly. So it can appeal to all different, types of buyers, which is nice.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, and some other kind of more recent news here. So our brokerage is growing, and as we grow, it's interesting to watch because a lot of our agents, we don't have like new agents here at Jorgenson Real Estate at this point, but we do have agents that run into some tricky situations. And what's interesting is they'll reach out to me, of course, as their broker and ask questions. But if I don't answer within 30 minutes, because I'm doing something like a podcast.
30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds maybe.
We expect you.
Yeah, Crystal is one of the other people that they reach out to right away. So if I don't answer, it's like Dad didn't answer, call Mom or whatever. And so they go to Crystal. And so we recognize that. And what's cool is we've quote unquote promoted Crystal to a leadership position. So she's an agent growth manager here, and kind of formalized that kind of role that just kind of morphed because people trust you and your experience. And you answer things, thankfully, very similar to how I answer things. So they're getting consistent advice.
That's what 8 years will do.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
And I went to KC with a lot. And I was very grateful because even the small questions, sometimes I needed a little more reassurance. Like my gut was okay, but I liked your style. And so I feel like that is what I've been able to kind of implement. And I love being able to give that back to newer agents or just agents that have a unique situation.
But what's funny is usually you'd come to me and ask, but you already knew the answer and your answer was already right.
Sometimes,
so it was more.
Sometimes it's your style or your delivery that I liked too, but sometimes you just need to talk things through with another agent. And I mean, that's another thing that I feel like I benefit from is it's like a collaboration / meeting of the minds, a little different perspective.
Well, we appreciate you. So anyway, yeah, it's great to just see it, as we grow, to be able to have broker associates and senior people with a lot of experience be able to kind of pour into others. So we appreciate the collaboration just as much.
Thank you.
But yeah, so I will say this. I usually close these kind of with an endorsement of sorts. I will say as of this moment in 2026, Crystal is our #1 sales agent at Jorgenson Real Estate.
No pressure to keep that going.
No pressure. No pressure. She's our #1 sales agent. She loves working with veterans. She loves working the luxury side of things. And she knows all of that and new construction like the back of her hand. So if you're looking, especially in that kind of Williamson County, North Travis County market, Crystal is a fantastic resource to reach out to, even if it's just a conversation or a simple question. She is a great person to reach out to and chat. So
thank you.
We appreciate you. All of your 5-star reviews show that your clients appreciate you.
Those are super special to me. You know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I could get paid in reviews.
Yeah. She would charge X% plus a review.
Right.
And the percent would be lower than.
Well, it's usually because I like them so much, then it feels like they liked me back.
Yeah.
Or they appreciated me.
Well, it shows. So good job. All right. Well, this has been Closer Conversations.
You're
Good?
amazing.
Good job. See y'all later. And that's a wrap. If you got value out of this, don't keep it to yourself. Send it to someone who needs to hear it. And if you're in Central Texas thinking about making a move, we're here at Jorgenson Real Estate. We'll see you next time.